Why? Because sustainability is, as I told in the very beginning, that it is something, it is not a perspective, it is a habit. And most important perspective or the part is that we need to understand, being an Indian, that the concept of sustainability is inherited in us from the centuries. Today, this the term has came, and we keep on discussing on this particular term in day out. But if you look into this particular aspect from the beginning itself, we are very much into sustainable activities from our childhood. If you talk about our expenses, if you talk about our habits in almost every area, because as a parent, if you say that from the beginning we used to teach our kids that don't throw anything in a open area, you have to use the dustbins. So as don't waste food, especially I believe every one of us must be knowing that our parents, when we were kids, even today, they used to say that don't waste anything. If anything is there in your food plate, in your lunch, do not waste a single piece. Why? Because it is something very much important for us. Because if we are wasting, you can imagine that there are people in the country who are not able to get a sufficient amount of food. So talking about this concept, it is prevailing in us, even though if we talk about this, the climate sustainable development is usually a talk of the show. Many of us believe, those who are not very closely observing this issue of sustainability, they believe that sustainability is still a buzzword. People used to come, they used to talk about this and move away. But in this particular presentation, in this 1 hour 15 minutes presentation, I'll be focusing on some of the examples, and along with the examples I'll go and ponder upon some of the strategies, possible strategies, which can be looked into for our sustainable business ecosystem. So let me share my screen first.
Some of the participants, they are still logged into the site one in the session link of session one only.
Okay.
So if you can send a message to them that they can log into the session two.
I'll share the link on WhatsApp for this session two.
Yeah, because some of them are still there in session one only.
Okay.
That is why we had sent separate links for the session. But anyways.
Yes, I know this, but some of them I was
no problem. No problem. Mayank sir, they just convey the message that kindly switch to session 2. So that
I'll share the link in the WhatsApp group.
And you just join that group session 1 and ask the participant that they should join the session 2 so that they can come down here itself. Because only attendees are only 30. We have 139 participants are in FDP. So let me share the PPT here. Do the slides are visible to all of you?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Great. So let's start. Now, in a very first session, as Balachandra sir, our keynote speaker, was also talking about the various climate issues. And if you hear there also, he talked about the behavior and other perspective. So in the same continuation, I'll be focusing for a few minutes. I'll be focusing on the various climate issues which are there, because when we are talking about sustainability, one part of sustainable actions or strategy is that how we are actually ignoring these climate change actions or climate change activities. So if you look into this particular slide, you'll see that human influence has warmed the climate. And if you look into this particular graph, it shows that the temperature level is increasing and is increasing very rapidly in this particular session. If you talk about, if you look into this particular area from 1950 onward, this increase is significantly steep. And as if you see recently, if you guys have visited Puri, you might be knowing that there are some villages in Puri who have been submerged in the water, primarily because of this increase in the sea level. And sea level is increasing primarily because of the increase in temperature. And this temperature, if it will cross 1.5 degrees centigrade, the result will be much more disastrous. Here, due to the impact of the increase in temperature, the sea level is increasing. And if you look into the slide here we are standing at this particular point, and in due course of time, if we will be totally dependent, as we are in India or in developing nations, we are primarily depend upon the fossil fuel usage, because in industries also the primary source of energy is a fossil fuel. So if you look into this particular graph, you'll find out if we will be totally dependent upon the fossil fuel, then the sea level rise will be reaching by 2100, or by the end of the century, it will be reaching somewhere at 1 meter. And with the increase or reaching of this 1 meter, the results will be really disastrous. Disastrous in the sense, if you look into our map, I'm talking about India specifically. If you look into our map and if you talk about country, the lower side of the country, you'll find that be it as Mumbai, Vizag, or some of the cities which are in on the bank of the seas, they will be submerged in a due course of time, because the sea level is increasing drastically. So this increase in the sea level is primarily because of the rise of the temperature, and because of that, it is creating problem for the livelihood of so many people across the country and across the world. The cities which are across the world who are near the bank on the seashore, they will be no more by end of this century, if you talk about. Then if you look into this picture, almost everybody might have seen this picture in the news and other areas. And here we are talking about 1.5 degree centigrade global warming. With this 1.5 degree centigrade global warming, we are really scared of. And recently that COP meeting is about to held in the month of November, where our Prime Minister will be going. But if you look into this 1.5 degree centigrade global warming, this is having a significant impact on our livelihood, our businesses, on us, everywhere. But if this will increase up to the 4 degrees centigrade, if you look into this picture of the globe, you'll find that every country will be having a very great problem. The destination where we prefer to go for our vacations, especially if you talk about the Europe or any other country, they will be a drought land. So our vacational areas will be no more in the picture. So these type of the issues are about to come in a due course of time if today we will not address this issue. And these are the real pictures. If you look into these pictures, you'll find out that how drastic it is. If you look into this particular picture, it is from Amazon rainforest. The incident happened last year in a month of August itself. And the carbon emissions from this forest due to this fire was much more higher than that of the UK's annual carbon emissions. So you can imagine, this is one of the largest rainforest. But if these type of the fires are occurring in these areas, you can imagine that how much they are contributing to the environment. They are affecting the environment. Even if you talk about India, I really don't know that how many of you have heard of the forest called Simlipal forest, which is in Orissa. But recently, in the month of February, March, there was a very huge fire has been there for almost 1 month. And because we are, and this particular forest is very near to us from Rourkela, so we have been suffering from this PM 2.5 other small dust particles for a very long period of time. We were having a problem in taking breathe and all these things, primarily because this fire was there in the forest for almost 1 month of time. So you can imagine, and these are two main regions. One is increase in the temperature, so the summers are increasing due to these forests are dry, so the fires are erupting. And the second reason is we people. Suppose we are visiting these forests for our excursion or something, and there, 1 second. So now, if you look into the second picture, this is, you can easily imagine, this is from India itself, and this is from Surat. Those who are from Gujarat, they can connect this picture, and this is full of flood. You can imagine, and same thing was there is there in Delhi also. If you go to near IT Connaught Place, that underpass, almost every time when there is a rain, you'll find that particular underpass is blocked, full of water. People are trying to cross that water with that road with a lot of inconvenience. Similarly, if you go to this picture, you'll find this is from India itself and from Maharashtra, Bhind. Here, people are trying to find out the water. Where is the water available? If you go to Rajasthan, Bhind, and in so many places, you'll find these type of the problems. And in this particular picture, if you see, this is a very common to all of us, because those who are from northern India, we can imagine that every summer in the month of somewhere from May, June, there is a scorching heat, and we want to be underwater at any point of time, no matters what situation is there, but we want the water on our body because the temperature is genuinely increasing. And even today, if you see, like previously when we were kids in the northern part of the country, usually we have never faced humidity in our childhood days. But today you'll find that there is a drastic change in the climatic in the weather conditions. Though we do agree that the rain is totally very less over there in the northern part of the country, but in summers also, slowly and slightly, this humidity is increasing. And surviving in a humidity, if you have not been into this environment for a long period of time from the childhood, then you may face a problem. Why? Because I'm telling you based on my experience, because I have been to West Bengal, Kolkata, and their weather is totally different from the weather in Delhi. So those who go to visit Kolkata, you'll find that a very drastic change is there in the weather, and surviving in this particular weather is really complex and really dreadful. What we are actually doing now, the question comes that what actually we are doing, being a business, being a consumer and society. As our keynote speaker was also talking about the same thing, that every business today, we are primarily looking into what you can say, as a business, we are mainly searching for how better or how quickly we can earn profits. Our bottom line is profit maximization. In finance, people must be knowing that in our classes, we usually taught that the bottom line of any business is finance. Even one of the renowned professor who is a Nobel Prize winner in economics, he was having a quotation that the business of business is to do business. Means, sorry, you just forget about anything. If you are in business, your objective is to do business. But is it really true? Similarly for the consumers also. As a consumer, if if we are primarily, as Sir was also mentioning, that if we are primarily looking into the expensive things, how if our income level is increasing and we want to consume maximum out of that, maybe going for a luxury products purchase, services, or any other thing, then what we are actually doing, we are also contributing the same amount of problems in the climate change. Similarly, as a society, now if you look into the aspect of society, society is something, because business, consumers, they all are the subset of this particular thing, society. We all are evolved out of this society. So if we do not focus on this particular society, then sooner or later everything will be destroyed. If this society will not be there, if we as a people will not be there, what will be the business will do? How they will churn, how they will earn the maximum, or they will earn the profit. So primarily, if you look into this, this model might have been seen by so many of you, that in present scenario, we are following the concept of cradle to grave. Cradle to grave, which simply means that we procure raw material, we produce it into the factory, make a product, use it, and finally dispose it. So what we are doing is we are following a linear cycle. Linear cycle, which simply means that the product has been procured, the raw material has been procured, and we use the product and dump and waste it. So if we are using the product and wasting it, then by end of the day, you'll find out that these, what you can say, dumping yards will be enormous in number. Why? Because primarily we are using plastic as a major source of carrying things. And in addition to that, I have one question to all the participants also, that usually we believe that plastic is not a good solution, not a good option for carrying things. We have to switch to some another option. But at the same time, plastic is something which is convenient, which is comfortable and cost effective for business, for us as a consumer. Because we, if you reconnect, that previously when we were kids, we used to carry that ghee or oil in a steel cans or in a glass bottles. But carrying that today, if you are carrying the same thing in the same manner, it will be inconvenient and cause uncomfort for the consumers. That's why the businesses, they have switched to the plastics. But the usage of the plastic, environmentalists used to say that plastic is not the solution. We have to switch to some another thing. And switching to some another thing, when we are talking about the some another thing, now question comes that what is that some another thing? If you go to recently, if you have visited the Big Bazaar, you might have seen that the bags which are coming, and they used to say that I'm not a plastic bag. So what is, I'm asking few of the participants if they can contribute, that what is there instead of a plastic, which we can use.
Compostable plastic, sir, biodegradable plastic, which is which does not leave toxic residue, and also while I mean it's the end solution is not harmful for the environment.
Okay, good. Anybody
And
else?
there is source reduction. You like
Source
minimize the use of plastic by carrying your own carry bags.
Okay. Anybody else?
It can be recycled bags, plastic bags.
So it should be something else, means as you recycle plastic bags. But the thing is that people used to say, likewise, I'm telling you one other example. We used to have a packet food, packet milk every day. And especially from Amul or Mother Dairy or any dairy you can talk about. And we used to cut from a very small piece of plastic, we used to cut and throw just like that. But this particular plastic have a very dreadful impact. And let me tell you, these microplastics have been found in oceans, and not only in oceans. If you talk about the seafoods, they are there. Their substances are there in seafoods also. In addition to that, recent research, probably last year, this research has been conducted that the excreta or the waste, which is human waste I'm talking about, which is coming out, also contain these plastics. So now you can imagine this, the penetration of this plastic into our body also. But I'm not an environmentalist. Let me tell you, I'm not an environmentalist. So I do not say that do not use plastic. But the question is, what else we can use? Either we have to stop using plastic in across the chains, if you talk about, be it is airport or any other area. We have to use, first of all, we need to stop the single-use plastic, which is having a very negative impact on the society and other places. But if we are replacing the plastic, what options we have, especially for liquid materials, what are the options we have which are durable, which can be carried for a period? If you are traveling from Big Bazaar to your home and you are using something, a glass bottle or something, it will be a problem. And not only for you as a consumer, it is okay. But can you imagine if you look into the same supply chain from the business perspective, this will be an additional cost. So one thing is that we have to stop it completely, or if not, what are the solutions we have? That is the area where the researchers keep on going. People are thoroughly researching, and if you look into that, in a plastic case, the microns, more than 50 micron plastics are only allowed for packaging and other things, so that these plastics can be recycled.
Well, here I would like to say that as the Professor Balachandran says that we have to do sacrifice. Now, my mean to say sacrifice, we have to go back to our traditions. Carrying that steel bottles, or maybe that the pots with us, and get it like the loose as we did it in our past. Like in my childhood, I went to shop, paid the money, get that liquid into that, in my own pot and bring it back. And today also, I just to, cut that plastic, I just got that pot, for milk, but still I'm using like a little bit, like one packet milk I'm using every day. So maybe we can try and reduce in this way, going back to traditions.
So adding to what you mentioned, microplastic has also been found in the placenta of newborns. And also, I think number one, we have to be conscious about the usage. If we're going to the grocery store itself, we be conscious to avoid the usage of plastic bags or single-use plastic. And according to Municipal Solid Waste Management 2016 rules, like virgin plastics are not recommended, and it needs to be phased out. Phased out is a term where in like 4 years, it needs to be, people should be done with. So I think government is taking efforts, but at the end of the day, it's our conscious consumption which will matter, I guess.
Very true. I strongly agree. That's why I was saying that we have two options. One, we should stop plastic by any way, or we try to reduce banging on the plastic. Because if you, another important aspect is that as a consumer, we can do that. We can stop using plastic, but think from a business perspective. Those who are from the finance, marketing especially, they can understand that when we are actually transporting something, when we are supplying something from the business house to the delivery store or the warehouses, if we are using these steel cans or glass bottles or any other thing, they are incurring cost in my supply chain. Let me tell you another example. This example is from, I just forget the name of that company. They're very interesting. They used to make mugs. What they do is, initially when they were transporting from Europe to some another country, what they found is that placement, there were a very small number of mugs they can place from ship from one place to another. What they did is they changed the shape, and by changing the shape of that cup, they can place more number of cups in the in a same shipment. So what they did is they they modify the shape and ship more number of cups in the particular shipment. So the same thing, but that is one concern for the supply chain cost. which is again for operations people. If you talk to them, they will say that this is something which is really alarming. Similarly, if you talk about from the production guys, they will say that what else we can do, because one side we need to maintain the cost. Obviously, we need to maintain the cost, and we need to provide easy products and competitive products. Today, the market is something is so competitive that today, if you are not producing competitive pricing, or you are not offering in a competitive pricing, obviously you will lose the market. What is the solution? This is the forum where we have to discuss that what are the best possible solutions we can have. So in another sessions also we'll be carrying the same thing. But here, if you see, many who are responsible for today's rise in atmospheric CO2 are no longer here, which means here we are talking about our forefathers, or the people, those who have contributed a lot in this rise in atmospheric CO2, and most who will be affected are not yet born. We people, if you see that we are the generation who have seen a drastic transformation from Doordarshan to almost around 222 channels today. So from steel bottles, dalda, to what you can say, palm oil. So we have seen a very drastic revolution. But if you look into this atmospheric CO2 emission increase, this is today, though we are getting affected, those who are residing in Delhi or in metros, they are facing the problem of asthma. The kids who are going to the school, they are, I mean, around 30% of the kids having asthmatic problems, especially in our metros. But this will be more dreadful for those who have not yet born, because we as a people are keep on continuing adding waste and emissions, so many things in this process. Now the question comes, what shall we do as a responsible business, as a responsible consumer, and as a responsible society? What is our take? What we have to do? Answer is quite simple. We need to maintain a balance between the profits. As a business, if I talk about, we need to maintain a balance between the profit and environment. Now here it may be an argument or a discussion that why not society? So here I would say that as a business, bottom line, end of the day, we have to focus on the profit part. That is our key concern. But along with that, if we are looking forward for the green initiatives or green business operations, which also talk as sustainable practices, if we make a balance between these two things, then only we can actually address the challenges which we are facing today, or our future generation will be faced in the coming years. So how we are going to address these things, that is more important, and that can be only addressed by focusing on the sustainable practices. And concept of, or the very first normative definition of sustainability has been developed or given in the year of 1987 in a Brundtland Commission report in UNWCED, where they have told that development that meet the needs and aspirations of the current generation without compromising the ability to meet those of the future generations. Which simply means that whatever we are consuming, whatever the raw material which we are using from the natural resources, we need to keep it for our future generations. It should not be the condition that tomorrow there will be no water facility for our future generations, or there should not be the raw material available for our future generations. So it is necessary that we need to focus on the optimization of the resources. One thing as a consumer that we can minimize, as Sir has already told, that we can minimize our consumption. This particular initiative. If you talk about going to the restaurants or going for a travel, even in that, like if you are going for a vacation, how much we genuinely minimize. Because there is a another aspect that if we are traveling by air, by end of this session, I'll give you one assignment, so that there you can check out that what is your carbon footprint, how much you are contributing as an individual in the environment. So whenever we are talking about the initiatives or the sustainable issue, is it okay now? So
Yes, yes, it's okay.
Yeah, it is.
So now, if you here, what we need to do is that we have to focus on sustainable practices. Now, if you see, that is the one definition which has been a universal definition, have been given by Brundtland Commission report in 1987. A very first definition. Previously, majority of our scientists, they were focusing on the environmental dimension. Even in due course of time, we will see that not only environment, the things which we have discussed till now, be it is plastic, be it is climate, be it is plastic, temperature, or sea level rise, or any other thing, they are from the environmental dimension. But as a country, we have to focus on some other aspects also. So if you look into this, what is our take? Development which enables individuals and communities. There is one definition which has told that underdeveloped region of the world to raise living standards through their profitable products consistent with minimizing adverse environmental effects and social impact. Here, not only, let me tell you that underdeveloped regions, every time people used to say that if somebody is poor, he's contributing more to the he's contributing more to the environment. Contributing means adversely contributing to the environment. If somebody who is from the underdeveloped region, they are contributing more. But if you look into the industrial revolution, if you go back to the industrial revolution, you'll find out that we are exploring ourselves to become sustainable, to stand on our own feet. Why? Because today, Government of India, if you talk about, have initiated so many initiatives like Make in India and other initiatives, so that we as an individual, as a country, can sustain on ourselves. Whereas if you talk about the developed nations, be it is UK, who has started the industrial revolution long back in 1765 around, they have already done their job. And America, if you talk about, or any other European country who are developed, they have already achieved that level of industrial revolution. They have achieved their living standard. Now they are focusing on environmental focus. But as a as a country, we are developing nations or whatever, we still need to focus on our society. Why? Because if we can actually, we people are actually the forerunners in developing the nation and environment. If we will be responsible, if we will be more conscious, then only we can actually address the environmental issues. So in underdeveloped region, this particular definition, I have a very strong objection on this particular thing. So that is okay, that we need development will enable the individual and communities in minimizing the adverse environmental effect and impact. That is strongly agree. But if you, at the same time, if you look into the carbon emission country wise, you'll find out that UK, Japan, China, India, though we are there in this list, but apart from us, there are so many developed nations who are in this particular forum. So you can not only blame the developing countries that we have to control ourselves. Likewise, in any meeting, any environmental summits or UN summits, you'll find out that majority of the developed nation, they pointed the developing countries that we need to control ourselves, especially when we are talking about the industrialization. Do agree that we have to focus on industrialization. When we are focusing on industrialization, we have to look into the sustainable options or sustainable practices. But if we do not go for industrialization, if we do not focus on manufacturing or focus on services, then how our people will sustain in this country? How our people will live their life, or how they will live their livelihood? So it is important for us as a country that we need to be self-reliable on our own food, so that tomorrow we should not be bang on our any of other country. If you look into the import and export deficit, you'll find out that where we actually stand. Majority, we have a very high imports compared to our exports. And when we have this type of scenario, you'll find out that we actually face a lot. We simply depend upon another country. For example, China, if you talk about, in most of the cases, we are depending upon the China. If you have recently seen a news that automobile company, they probably 4 or 5 days back news that automobile company, they are reducing their reducing the production of their cars because they were not having a semiconductor devices and chips available. So here the companies are producing less, primarily because we are totally dependent upon some another agencies or some another country for their product. So it is also necessary that we need to bank on ourselves, we need to develop ourselves so that tomorrow in any of the adverse condition, we should not bank on other country. Or for example, if you go into the broader perspective, more beyond this country level, if there is a war and our war with the China, and if you believed in pharmaceutical, more than 70% of the raw material, generic medicine raw material used to be procured from China. That will have been stopped. Though we are #1 pharmaceutical hub in the world, but what will be our position in that particular case? So it is necessary that when we are going ahead, when we are talking about sustainability, we have to, when we are talking about sustainability, keep in mind I'm talking about the sustainability, not environment. So when we are talking about sustainability, we have to look that where we are, where either we are self-reliable or not. So in case of self-reliability, we have to focus, we have to go ahead for businesses for more production. But when we are talking about the production, we have to keep in mind that that should be sustained, that should be environmental friendly. And along with that, we have to ensure that it should be a socially responsible economic development, so that we can, as the definition or standard definition says, that we should leave something for our future generations. Now, primarily because of this, the climate change issues and other things, this agenda of 2030 has been developed. And before this agenda of 2030, that Millennium Development Goals have been decided in for 2000 to 2015. The Millennium Development Goals have been decided, and primarily they were focusing on the social issues. They have ignored some of the environmental concerns which are genuinely important. So if you see the Millennium Development Goals, which have been there from 2000 to 2015, and the SDGs, the recent SDGs, we are talking about the agenda of 2030, we'll find that in Millennium Development Goal, as I told in a previous point itself, primarily the focus area was the developing countries. That we as a developing country need to focus on sustainability, we need to focus on all the aspects, but the developed nations can ignore, because they are in a position of reducing their carbon footprints, but we are in a process of developing country. So it is necessary, it has been changed to the universal, means no developing, no develop, it is common to all. Everybody will have to participate, will have to work together for the agenda of 2030, for the agenda of sustainable development. In addition to that, we were in Millennium Development Goal, we were focusing on the social aspects, primarily on the poverty, education, sanitation, etc. And that has been increased, that has been moved ahead and include the inclusive sustainability definition, which focus on not only on the social dimension, it talks about the environment and economics in totality also. Then previously, if you talk about that, we were MDG, if I talk about, they were mainly dependent upon the foreign aids. If some agencies are helping us out in through their foreign aids, we are progressive, we are working on the issues. If they are not, then in that case, we cannot go ahead in that particular situation. But today it has been told that no, not you are not supposed to bank on a foreign investments or foreign aids. You have to generate these assistance from your own hand itself. Domestic investments are required so that it is you can rely on yourself, and that's the reason why if you look back in probably in a year of 2015, when our Prime Minister has spoke about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, And specifically, he told about the toilet. There was a big issues were there that a prime minister from Red Fort is talking about a toilet, but nobody has actually pointed out that why he is focusing on the toilet issue or why he is focusing on Swachhata. Though it is a regular activity, we used to do it at our home on a daily basis. In the morning we clean our house and do everything. But when we clean our house, we collect the garbage and throw it in the road. If you see, it is a responsibility that we are cleaning our home, but we are making we are dumping in the society. So actually, in reality, if you see that we are not doing anything justifiable, it is necessary that we need to focus in an inclusive manner in a society that our house should be clean. Along with that, our society should be clean. That's why it is necessary that it should be an inclusive societal action. Everybody, every individual, whosoever is there, if we take an initiative that we should clean our house and at least the area nearby to our house, then you can see that the things will be cleaner. Example is Indore, where people, if you go to these Swachh cities, probably there you'll find that from last 3 consecutive years, the city is doing remarkably good. Even there are so many upcoming cities are also coming up. Then if you talk about that, previously we were mainly focusing on the official statistics and administrative data. But instead of focusing on the official statistics and administrative data, which is usually been provided by the government, we need to look into the different aspect. That is the big data, research generated data, geospatial data, and various other issues. Even we can use the satellite images for understanding that if you see the case of Chennai is a city which is having a huge scarcity of water. And primarily, if you talk about the metros, these cities are primarily facing this issue mainly because they have vanished the ponds. There is no pond, there is no lake, and big skyscrapers are available there. So when there is a rainfall, when the water is coming during the rainy season, where this water will go? And because of that, flood is there. At the same time, the water level is not available. Means the people are actually suffering from low water level. So one issue which we make, because of that, we are suffering today. Talk about any city, if you wherever, especially in metros, this problem is persist and quite common. Now, what should be there? Means what is there actually in agenda of 2030 Sustainable Development Goals? Here we primarily focus on the 5 P's, similar to that of the 4 P's which were there in the marketing. Here we are talking about the people, the well-being of all the people, because if we will not be there, what we will do with this sustainability or any other thing? It is necessary that planet is for us. So the protection of our earth ecosystem is very much important. Prosperity. If we are living in a very merciful condition where we do not have a money, then again it is of no use. So we need to make a prosperous country, we need to make prosperous people, and along with that, peace, securing peace. Case of Afghanistan. Maybe so many arguments will be there, but we have to maintain peace. If these aspects, if you look into these aspects, they all are interrelated. If you miss out one, you'll suffer at this another one. If you miss out peace, for example, a very simple example of peace, if you see, if we ignore this aspect of peace, the case of Afghanistan, where the women are not secured, the girls are not secured, the businesses are not secured, forget about businesses, actually the people are not secured. In such city, in such a state or such country, how the state will progress? Because there is a situation of panic is there in that particular thing in a country. So people, prosperity, everything will be vanished. It will not sustain because the peace is not there. Similarly, if you take another example from the business, like those who are from the UP, they might understand that Reliance, when this company came up in somewhere around 2013 or prior to that, when Mayawati government was there. So when Reliance came, they were in a process of setting up their retail chain, but because they were not having a good relationship with the government, so they were supposed to move out from the state. Now you can imagine that if that harmony, political stability will not be there in any of the state, then there is a problem. And it not only affects the business, it affects the individuals. Another example, if you see, those who are from the West Bengal, they might be knowing the case of Singur issue, where the issue was genuinely very good. If you go into the detail of that issue, you'll find out that this issue was primarily focusing on the farmers. But the politicization of that issue has really impacted the state in a very adverse situation. Today, many of these companies are not willing to go down to the state, primarily because the stable scenario is not there in the state. And if there is no stable scenario, obviously being a company, I will not be able to prefer to go to that particular state. And if the industrialization or the companies are not there, the prosperity of these things will get affected. So why I am talking about this is that partnership is something which is also very much important. We have to have a very cohesive bonding. We should have a very inclusive approach when we are talking about the sustainability, because the development of any country will be totally dependent upon these 5 P's. We have to focus on each and every 5 P's not in isolation. We cannot see these 5 P's in our silos. We have to look into these aspects in totality, in together. Then only we can actually talk about more in detail about the inclusive sustainable development. And these are the 17 different sustainable development goals are there. If we start talking about each of them, every SDG have its own importance. Poverty, hunger, quality education, if I say, or talk about any other SDG, they have their significant relation in achieving the another. Means these 17 SDGs, they have their interrelationship with each other. And if we that's why the government of India, as sir was also mentioning, that Niti Aayog precisely working on this. They have made different indicators. They are ranking every state on these indicators, or for each particular SDG I'm talking about. For each SDG, they are ranking in totality. They are ranking, and they keep on talking about that what best we can do, so that we in total we can do better. And here, if you see that there are almost 169 targets are there. So if those who are working in this particular area, they must be knowing. But this is a wonderful area where we can go in detail, in detail about the research also. For example, if I say quality education, usually if you see the quality education is the aspect where like we have a very high, means the literacy rate is keep on increasing. But if you see the what you can say, enrollment ratio in the primary school is decreasing, which is alarming. Means we are talking about the literate educated class, but at the same time our future generations are not actually enrolling in this. What is the problem? Because if we do not have an education, then almost everything, be it is your hunger, poverty, or unsustainability, talking about any particular thing, that will be there. So it is very much important when we are talking about this. We should have a proper education, and not only bookish education I'm talking about, because bookish education is okay. But along with that, the most important thing is knowledge. Like gender disparity is one topic which we can discuss day in, day out, and the participants who are available, they will have their views. But I would say that this is one area where we have to look into, because if you are providing equal status to the girls, equal status I'm talking about, if you are providing an equal status to the girls, they can perform far better than boys. Though I am a boy, but I do agree on this aspect that if we provide, and the examples are CBSE school, CBSE results. If we really provide, and now why I'm talking about education is because this is having a very great relevance with the Sustainable Development Goals. If you look into your household activities, who actually manages our house? Our girls, ladies, and they are very particular about the utilization of the resources which are there at her house. Means how much oil, what you can say, any particular thing. If you talk about how we have to use it, how we have to continue, what is our what you can say, what is inventory we have, how we'll have to continue further, how we will spend for a month of time. Because if someone is salaried, then obviously his salary is coming in the month end. So how you can run this particular thing for 30 days, that is well driven by the ladies. So they are the good sustainable managers that we have to keep in mind. And if we are educating them, if we are pushing, providing actually the support to these people, to this particular class, then you can imagine that we will do wonders. Be it is business, be it is household, or any area, we will do wonders. So that's why I'm saying that this, if you talk about the quality, I'm talking about the one SDG as an example, the things can be remarkably changed in the scenario. But in this FDP, we will be focusing on only 2 SDGs as such. That is industry, innovation and infrastructure, and responsible consumption and production. These 2 aspects we will be trying to cover, so that maybe in another sessions or FDPs, we will try to focus primarily on these 17 SDGs specifically. But here, because it is on sustainable business ecosystem, so we'll try to focus on these 2. If you talk about the SDG 9, that is building a resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. In this, in a due course of time, we will be talking about some of the strategies which are relevant for building this SDG in a very strengthened, in a very positive manner. Then we have SDG 12, that is talking about the responsible consumption and production. Now, if you look into ourselves, we are highly social beings. We measure our progress in the life in relation to the others, has been said by the Brown, and truly that is true. If you look into your neighborhood, no matters what we are doing, what I am doing as such, but if in a neighborhood, if somebody is buying a car, a good car, we'll be intent to buy that, no matters what capacity we have. And because of that, what will happen is maybe our purchasing capacity is not that much high. Because of that social pressure, we are going to buy that particular thing. If somebody is visiting, going for a tour to Europe, we will also plan for that. And today, one particular thing is also adding in this, that is, if you look into there are different kind of apps which are coming up. Though it's a business opportunity, I'm not denying, I'm not commenting on any negative thing on that. But if you look into today's business opportunities which are there, like app, within that particular app, you can simply put your Aadhaar card number and so few other details, and you can get 50,000 rupees of a loan. And what they are promoting, if you look into these ads also, they are promoting that you can go on an excursion, you can buy something for your daily need or something. But if suppose I do not have a capacity to actually, then if I really don't have a capacity, I will not go for a buy of the particular thing. But if I'm going and I'm not able to repay the loan, then you can imagine what will be the scenario. The scenario will be 2008 itself. If you reconnect that huge economic crisis which was there. And because of that economic crisis, though you see it is only 50,000, how it will be relating to that great economic crisis. But it is one brick which keep on adding, and thereafter a period of time you'll find that this will become a massive, and there will be huge NPAs and bank will collapse. And if the banking system will collapse, obviously it will be having a very adverse impact on the business. So it is necessary that we have to look in ourselves that what capacity we have, If we have a capacity, we have to go for. If we do not have a capacity, we have to think twice before spending. Because if you see that Swami Vivekananda has told that whatever you are earning, whatever be your earning is, you have to save for yourself. 1/3 of your total earning you have to save for yourself first. Then from rest of your amount you should spend on your livelihood. It is important. We Indians, we usually do so, and that's the reason why in 2008 we survived. Though it was a massive crisis in Europe and US, but we survived because our banking infrastructure was like that. We were having that conservative mindset of saving 1/3 and spending rest of the amount. And because of that, but today it is slowly changing. This consumer pattern is slowly changing, and that is really alarming. So if you see what exactly this sustainable consumption is, as Sir has already pick up some of the points from already discussed, so we'll try to cover in a fast. The use of these services and related products which respond to the basic needs and bring a better quality of life, which minimize the use of natural resources and toxic materials, as well as emission of the waste and pollutants over the life cycle of the service or products, so as not to jeopardize the needs of our future generations. Any point of time when we are talking about, we are talking about our future generations. Why? Because if we will consume everything today, then what we will leave for our future generation. And in order to achieve this sustainable consumption, if you see from a behavioral marketing perspective, you'll find out these are the certain theories which actually focus on green consumption and behavior. They talk about, if you talk about the green consumption theory, it is focusing on the epistemic value, what the society is talking about. Then if you talk about the theory of planned behavior, which has been given by Eisen in 1985, and still today in almost every research, if you talk about, we keep on using this. Because sorry, in this particular research, in this particular theory, he has very beautifully explained about the attitude, the social norm, how social norm, as I told in one of the examples, that how social norm is actually pushing us for buying something which is not in our capacity, but we are moving forward. So if you talk about the perceived behavioral control, that is not actually having an impact on our intention and behavior and resulting into going for an unsustainable purchase of a product which is not in our capacity. Then if you talk about the theory of goal frames, it primarily talk about the 3 basic goals that every individual have: gain goal, normative goal, and hedonic goal. And as an individual, if I say, if I take an example for hedonic, we can prefer bicycle, if I say in our day-to-day activity, but that is not convenient. If you reconnect the newspaper sellers, previously they used the bicycles for distributing the newspapers, but today if you see, they are using scooty and bikes, other things. Similarly, the milkman, they are not using cycle, I believe, especially in metros. If you go, you do not find people using a bicycle or any other thing. Why? Because it may happen for, especially if you talk about the milkman case, he is not delivering in a very vast or a very huge area, but because he feels that it is much more convenient. The term convenience actually is the main cause of unsustainable consumption. And for any time when we are going for our convenience, this add one thing, they add a value addition to us, but at the same time it add into the unsustainable practices also. So convenience is something, if we really focus on convenience in a very different manner, then we may address the issue of sustainable practices. But at the same time, we do not focus on convenience in a sustainable manner. We focus the convenience on our ease. And when we are focusing on our ease, obviously we have to pay cost for that. Anything if you talk about. Then we have a norm activation theory, which again talking about the social norms which are there, how the society actually impact our intentions. If you talk about the value-based norm activation theory, the same thing. they are also in this theory also Stern has focused on how our value system means. We have our broadly, if I talk about, we have our two kind of values, that is outer values, which are also called as altruistic values, where we care for others, and we have intrinsic values where we talk about ourselves as an individual. And when we are talking about our intrinsic values, we are self-obsessed, we are focusing on ourselves. But at the same time, when we are talking about the extrinsic values or altruism, if I talk about environmental values, if I talk about, there we are either focusing on the environment, or altruism, we are focusing on the society. So making a balance between these two, extrinsic and intrinsic value, if you can actually make a balance, then we can actually address the case of our sustainable behavior. And these theories are widely used in the field of sustainable consumption. Now, if you see the end short-termism that prevent the companies and individuals acting on their social and environmental responsibilities. As I told that if today I'm looking forward for my profit maximization, I'm not talking about the wealth maximization. If I'm focusing on a profit maximization, what will happen is that obviously we will try to get the raw material at a cheaper price so that I can minimize my cost. Because if in a very simple sense, in a very basic economic sense, if I say only for profit, only two things are there, or very simple formula is there: cost, your selling, your cost price, selling price, and profit. So how you can manage profit? Either you can reduce down the cost, or you can increase the selling price. In this competitive environment, you cannot increase the selling price, so you have to manage on your cost. And if you are managing on your cost, and that too in a very short term, then obviously you are compromising with the quality, the standards, and that's the only way by which you can actually increase the profit part. So it is if we are doing so, we are focusing on the short termism, and resulted into maybe my profit margins will definitely shoot up, but for how long? People have a conception that if I'm investing in a sustainable strategy, then we have to bear a very huge cost. Yes, it is very true. Maybe in a very next session also, you'll our expert will be talking about the same thing in detail. But if you look into this, obviously when we are talking about the quality product, quality raw material, or good quality machines, etc., then initially my setup cost will be higher. But this setup cost will be not much higher, or will not be a burden after 2 years or 3 years of your life, of the life of that particular cycle, production cycle. Thus, it is necessary that if you are investing, don't think of in a short-term notice that I have invested, I need a return at a very fast pace. That's practically not possible. We need to look into this aspect in a manner that yes, maybe 3 years should be the leeway. For example, when we are investing, our parents have invested a lot on us from childhood to till date, and after maybe 25 years of life, we start earning money. So when they wait for such a long time on our investment, when they have invested on us, why we cannot wait for 3 years or 2 to 3 years or 5 years down the line? And that is the problem with us we are facing today, be it as a business or talk about any scenario. So if we are focusing on short-termism, we will be in a problem. Thus, it is necessary that we need to look this concept of sustainable production in a very different manner, in a manner which can be conducive for the product, for the company also. I'm not saying that we need to jump on sustainability as of now itself. We need to procure everything today itself and do the things. No, it's an incremental process. You keep on investing. I'm not saying that you should do everything in a single shot. No, but we have to we have to go ahead in a stepwise manner, so that at least one thing we should address today. Tomorrow we will talk about another aspect, and thereafter we will slowly and slightly we will cover the different perspectives. Now, in order to address this, we need to focus on the environmental. When I'm talking about this, we need to focus on environmental competitiveness. That is something, if we are focusing as a company, I'm talking about, if we are focusing on the environmental competitiveness, we are actually addressing the environmental sustainability, because sustainability have 3 different aspects. Environment is not the only one. So here we have environment, we have society, and we have economics. Being a business, economics profit is my priority. But along with my profit, I have to look in. If I'm looking into the environmental dimension, I'm actually addressing in a stepwise manner. So what we need to do is we have to look into the proactive environmental strategy aimed to meet the global environmental challenges and developing the cost-effective environmental friendly solutions for the firm to serve the society in a sustainable manner. Again, society, if you see the society again, I'm keep on talking about the society because here this is our society and business somewhere lying into this itself. It is a subset of a society. So being a business, if you are into a business, you have to be very careful for the society. Your strategy involve the tactic knowledge through the skill development and focus on the prevention rather than cure. We all know prevention is better than cure. In those who are from the operation, they must be knowing that we have a different set of strategies. So if our product has been out and we are talking about this, it is of waste. So we need to focus on the prevention part at the very beginning itself. If you look into this aspect, maybe you have seen this Mitti Cool. Maybe some of you might have seen this Mitti Cool. It is a refrigerator. There is a company in Gujarat is working has invented this Mitti Cool refrigerator where you can keep your food and it will be really cool and will be survive even in the summers also. You can visit this visit the website of Mitti Cool. Then if you look into this, it is a terracotta tubes and this is an air conditioner, air cooler. Traditional way of doing things. So with the help of this, you can, if you look into this, instead of installing ACs and other things, if you have this particular kind of equipment, if you make this type of equipment, you can actually do a lot to save the environment. Because air conditioners, though, if you look into our apartments, because this example can be easily understood if you consider yourself that if you are living in an apartment, in a floor itself, we place ACs, like window AC or split AC, any AC if you talk about, and our house is cool. But when you come out of the house, go into the corridor, if you move around in a corridor, you'll find heat. So why? Because we are cooling, and every time we are doing the same kind of activity, we are cooling our house and heating the environment. What best option we can do? I do agree that if I'm in Delhi, I don't have any option left instead of putting AC in my house. But at the same time, what best we can do so that at least we can minimize. If you are running your AC at a 25 degree, you can save a bit. If not much, at least you can save a bit. But usually we do not do. We keep our AC at 16. Try to chill our room ASAP so that we can enjoy this cool at a very fast pace. And this is where we are actually doing wrong. As a consumer, it is not a big deal if you can. It may take time, maybe 10 minutes more, but at least it will help us out to contribute a little bit to the environment. Now here, if you talk about environmental competitiveness, there are numerous strategies are there, but in this particular session, we are primarily focusing on green innovation and circular economy. Green innovation, as I told recently, that green innovation is nothing but either we are focusing on product, either we are changing something in our product, or we are talking about our process, or we are focusing on organizational change. If there is any organizational change is there, then also it will be beneficial for our green innovation. And last, or the fourth one is green marketing innovation. Marketing innovation will be addressed by our another experts in a different session. So if you see green product innovation, EcoRite, reusable bags. These are the reusable bags which have been made by a company. It is a startup firm. The owners, they are IIM grads. They left their job and they started working on this. Similarly, if you look into this Chalk and Chuckle, this particular company has transformed the mode. Today, Zaro, if you talk about there's a very big name in this online teaching, online education. I'm missing out the name. They are actually forcing our kids to go by the tab and you should be online. If you are learning something, it is better you should learn online. But if you recall our memories, we used to learn all these things from our friends. When we club together, we join together and learn from each other. But this kind of activity is actually missing in the present scenario. Our kids either staying with the mobile phone, with the laptop, or with these apps for studies. So this company has transformed this and trying to keep our kids back to the chalks, which we were doing in our childhood. Then if you see, there is another example of green process innovation. Green process innovation where we are modifying something in our process. This is a pressure cooker. This is the Ulfa electric cooker, which trying to cook in, if you have a fluctuating temperature, if you have a very fluctuating temperature at home, especially in a rural interior areas, we find this problem. So if you have that particular problem, this cooker will adjust in that environment with the temperature, with that variation in that fluctuations, and will provide you a solution for that. Similarly, if you talk about, there are another examples like IBM, Body Shape, and Walmart. They also do so many changes in their process so that they can actually address the unsustainable issues which are there in their process. Then we have another example of green organizational innovation. Like in organization, if I say, talk about academic or business, in these cases, when as an individual we are doing something, it is a problematic, because sustainability is something which usually say that it is a top-down approach. If our bosses are ready, we can implement anything. But if every individual at our level, as an employee or as a worker, if we are working at our level by managing things at a ground level, then we can actually address a little bit. And this organizational innovation, a green organizational innovation, also focus on the same thing, where at our level we need to focus on, so that we can improvise so many things. Likewise, if you see the mode of communication, previously we were having, if there is a delivery, we need to what you can say, sorry, we need to send the receipt to the challans to the one part, then it will be processed. But today, with the help of internet, we can do it very easily, and we are reducing this cost of communication. So it is one way. Another is, if all our employees, the workers who are there in an organization, if we are working together, then we can address this organizational innovation also. I'm not covering this green marketing innovation because it will be covered by one of our professor. These are the certain examples which are there. We are quite aware of. Now, though the time is over, but give me just 5 minutes so that we can cover off circular economy. As probably Sir has also discussed on the same issue, the circular economy, and you might have heard of this particular term in a very high frequency: reduce, reuse, and recycle. This 3R principle or 4R principle. And this is something which is, especially in a case of plastics or oils, we used to talk about this. Whenever we have a waste, we talk about circular economy. Circular economy, as we have discussed in the very beginning, that we have, like we are following the cradle to grave model. And circular economy actually talking about that cradle to cradle model, where from cradle, if something is going to the grave, we need to find out that what best we can do. Can we reuse it? Can we recycle it? Or can we remanufacture it? If we cannot do anything, then we have to dispose. And that is the last end option. But if we can do something, then what we are doing is we are making a what you can say, closed loop of the complete process of production. And if we are if we can make a closed loop of the whole process, it will be a significant value addition to the business system, because the waste which are coming out of the I'm giving you one very simple example, that MSME clusters are there. if I talk about like in Durgapur, we were having a cluster when we visited for our PhD work. We found out that some iron companies are there because Tata is this SAIL is there. So small MSCBs were there, and when we talk about them for the wastage, what they used to do with the wastage, they said that there is a person a company who's dealing in scrap. They buy all these scrap and they mold it in a different form. So here, if you see that they were trying to maintain a circular loop, but in some of the cases, these scrap or the waste was not purchased or procured by any individual. And what they used to do is they dump that into the open land. If you talk about that sugarcane, you can say the sugar industry, the waste which is coming out, that is of really hazardous. If somebody is from UP, they must be knowing that in what you can say, nearby Greater Noida, there is a small village where majority of the localites or the people are suffering from cancer because of that waste, which is actually going into either into the groundwater or mixing with the river, canal, etc. And people are suffering from cancer. So this waste, if we are not actually addressing this waste today, it is having a very hazardous impact on the society. Means with our action, we are actually affecting the whole environment. So the concept of circular economy in businesses is significantly important. And not only in business I'm talking about, even at our home, the waste, like if I take a very simple example, I practice at home, not frequently, but try to practice, like we wash rice or vegetables and even pulses also. The wastewater which will come out, I keep it I put that wastewater in my garden, balcony garden, because there. But if you look into the another aspect, how long? Because when you are cleaning all these things, it will be a very huge amount of water, wastewater, which is coming up. So if you have a very big area, open house, you can adjust this water. But if you do not have, then it will be a problem. So in these cases also, you need to find out a circular loop, what best you can do so that you can minimize, if not completely shut down the waste part, at least we can minimize so that we can also add value addition to the system. And with this, I'll wind up for the session. It is already 1:16, but if you have any query, I'll be ready to address.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So good afternoon. I am Dr. Munish Tiwari. Your discussion, it was wonderful. You discussed about the 5 P's. Actually, what I feel
Yes,
is
sir.
that there should be one more point which is strongly needed to sort out the issues of environmental or sustainability in all our world. Basically, there should be a proper understanding between the underdeveloped nations and the developing nations, because if you go back, I think a few years back there was a problem discussed on the floor in international arena, and the developed countries were putting the blame about the greenhouse effect, the global warming, on the underdeveloped nations. Actually, both the nations are responsible for global warming, but both are putting the blames on each other. So because what I feel is that if any problem that comes up to the all over world, and it is going to all the countries are going to face it, so we all should, instead of fighting with each other and not putting a blame on any other country, we should sort it out. And another thing is that we need to be proactive in nature rather than any problem that comes to your country, or it comes to on your health, and your health become hazardous and we lose our life, or we face any kind of problem in coming future. Like the Japanese companies, they have been making their products very environmental friendly, okay, with the use of green effect and all. So if we are proactive in nature, then definitely we can sort out many of the things, okay, rather than being dependent on the our state government or the central government, or dependent on the any international body, that they, when the problem will become gravy and they will sort it out. The issue is not our problem. So we need to be proactive in nature. And in this particular arena, the all the most of the Japanese companies for manufacturing of their product, they are doing a wonderful job. So these are the 2 points I wanted to add it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anyone have any other query, or we can wind up the session? So thank you guys. Thanks for your kind cooperation. We'll be meeting at 3 o'clock. It will be a wonderful session by one of the entrepreneur, first generation entrepreneur. He's basically into an organic farming. So it will be a really insightful journey in the session. Third session will be starting at around 3 o'clock. So thank you all once again, and we'll meet at 3 o'clock.
And the link of the session 3 has been shared on the WhatsApp group. So you can access from there. So the session 3 will start at 3 p.m. So link has been shared. And thank you, Professor Singh, for sharing your valuable insights on sustainable business strategies. Thank you very much.
Due to some technical issues, I think I was unable to, join. So some technical team should support us, sir. I guess I missed so many, so much time from your lecture. I missed your lecture due to technical issues. So please help us.
This is, I do agree. I do agree, sir. Actually, the problem here is this online platform. Because from our side, if there is any problem, we try to resolve it ASAP. Likewise, initially in our first session, inaugural session, there were people were in the lobby. They were waiting for a long time. So we resolved that. But in some cases, there are certain issues which beyond our capacity. So I'm sorry for that. We'll try to provide as much as assistance we can.
I was unable to log in. I think you might have seen my message in group as well. So I missed valuable lectures.
Sir, actually, the only thing to all the participants, there is a kind request that the mail ID which you have sent, through which you have logged in your AICTE Atal Academy portal, you have to log in by the